first alerts for the morning hours.
We do for refreezing. We know how it works.
Dangerous road conditions. Speaking of dangerous road conditions, though, we do want to show you what it looked like this morning. This is in the area of uptown Charlotte, and our Courtney Cole was out there this morning doing a live shot on the winter weather, and in between her live shots saw this crash on the interstate. And this is exactly why DOT and other first responders have been urging people not to head out on the roadways during this active weather.
Yeah, and a lot of the roads have been treated. We've been talking about this in our own parking lot. Our parking lot was really well treated. There was a lot of salt. You and I walked out there yesterday. There was a lot of salt down, but now it's covered. And so it still hasn't been able to overcome it. Like when you have the cars going through, that helps a little bit, but still we've had sleet, we've had freezing rain, we've had snow in a lot of cases, just kind of building on one another.
And you know what, I want to show this video also. This was also shot by Courtney Cole, showing the snow coming down during the overnight hours on the interstate. You're seeing it on the overpass. And for the Charlotte metro area at least, snow is pretty much done, and now we're dealing with sleet and the concerns of that freezing rain.
Yeah, and that's the bad news, because what you're seeing right here, this was overnight.
This is old news now.
It is old news. This has already happened. This is when the snow was falling. It was beautiful. We came into the station this morning. The snow was falling. It looked nice. It felt nice. But as we went through the morning show, just hour after hour, we would start to hear, it was really loud as you went outside. That's because it turned over to sleet. And now what we're talking about is the potential for freezing rain, which is even worse than that, because at least sleet pellets are tiny little pellets. You can see them. They are frozen, but you can deal with them a little bit. It's freezing rain. That's when you get those problems. That's when you get the power outages, and that's just not what anybody wants to deal with.
Don't want to deal with that at all, but you know what? We've had our crews throughout the WBTV viewing area throughout the overnight hours into the morning, and we've been talking about Courtney Cole's coverage, so we want to bring her in live right now, watching the system for us. She's in Charlotte for us. Courtney, what can you tell us, because it looks like a winter wonderland where you're standing right now.
It is pretty, Courtney.
Good morning, Abby. I've changed location since I first started speaking to you around 5 a.m. We were just north of Uptown. Now we're back on the western side of Charlotte here on Settle Avenue, just outside our station. And like you and Lee were saying, we're not seeing that soft, fluffy snow. You might even be able to hear it hitting my jacket right now. That's the sleet that Lee and Al were talking about. You can see it, you can hear it, you can even feel it. It's very hard. Some of it's kind of landing on my gloves right now. Even you can see it on my jacket at this point. Like you all said, it's not soft, it's not fluffy. Even let's go ahead and pan down to the ground at this point. It's making it kind of crunchy here at this point. It's not that soft, fluffy snow like we're seeing in Boone or even out in Hickory. At this point here, I've got some of it in my hands. Now you can see it's getting a little bit harder. You can see each individual particle at this point. Like you all said, I did see a crash earlier this morning on I-277, which is why we want to remind people, limit your travel today. If you don't have to go somewhere that's essential, please stay home. We've heard it from officials. We heard it from you and Kristen. And if you are out, just slow down. There's no rush to get anywhere because accidents can and will happen. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it back to you in the studio, Abby.
I do want to ask you quickly, have you seen cars out there on the roadway? Because the story today is to stay inside if you can. What has it been like on the streets where you've been?
You know, since leaving over north of Uptown, we were over by the Music Factory. We ended up passing by the Bank of America Stadium, coming down Moorhead Street. We even went to Wilkinson and Freedom Drive. There were not many cars out at all. In fact, we could still see some tracks from earlier. Now it went from being that white fluffy snow to slushy, soft, kind of like a nasty slushy from 7-Eleven at this point. There's not many people out. I can say that for a fact. I did see some sledding, but there are not many people driving right now.
Hey, that's some good news there, right, Courtney? All right. Well, we just want to say thank you so much for your coverage. We'll check back in with you throughout the day. I'm going to let you go and get warm. In the meantime, do want to check in with meteorologist Lee Brock, who is tracking that system for us. And I know that the snow aspect of this, at least for the Piedmont, the Charlotte Metro, out of the way now, and it's really about that freezing rain and some other inclement situations that could cause problems out on the roadways.
Yeah, we've had most of our snow already. That doesn't mean we're done with the precipitation, but most of our snow, that's starting to move out of here. So let's take a look at temperatures. You might be surprised to see these temperatures, knowing that we don't actually have snow falling right now in a lot of places. You really don't see a whole lot of variability between the temperatures in the foothills and between the Piedmont area and also into our eastern counties and our South Carolina counties. Everybody's in the 20s, but we're all seeing very different things, and that's because we have warmer air working in above the surface. Kind of hard to explain, but it really can mess things up for us precipitation wise. Let's also talk about wind speed. This is what the wind speeds are right now. To add insult to injury, not only do we have the winter precipitation, we have the cold temperatures, we also have the winds picking up. We're talking about winds about 25 miles an hour in Gastonia, 20 in Charlotte, 22 in Shelby, 21 in Monroe. And that means a couple different things. For one thing, it means it's cold outside and it makes it feel even colder. Look at these current temperatures. This is what it feels like outside. If you're in Shelby, if you're in Gastonia, it feels like 8 degrees. That is cold. Feels like 10 in Boone, 9 is what it feels like in Hickory, 11 in Statesville and Salisbury. Even here in the Charlotte area, it feels like 14 degrees. So those are pretty serious temperatures if you don't even add in the winter precipitation. So let's talk about our watches and warnings now. We have a winter storm warning in effect for all of the pink areas, and we have an ice storm warning in effect for the blue areas. So even our eastern counties where you see that winter storm warning, it doesn't necessarily mean snow. It means most of us from here on out, we are going to be looking at icy stuff. So not such great news, right?
And this is going to be an issue on Monday and Tuesday also. You all issued that first alert because you don't want people out on the roadways unless they have to be.
Right. I would say the roads are going to be the worst today, between today and tonight. Tomorrow morning, what we have happen is anything that's not completely frozen before you go to bed, it probably will be by tomorrow morning because we have temperatures dropping back to the 20s. So I want to show you, this is kind of an interesting map to look at because this has the temperatures on top of the radar. So you can see where we have the snow. That's where we have the purple, the blue colors, and you can see where we have the sleet and freezing rain. Now this particular model, it doesn't really differentiate between the sleet and the freezing rain, but we can tell you the farther west you go, there's more sleet. The farther south and east you go, there's more freezing rain. But notice those temperatures. We have a 22-degree temperature in Hickory and Statesville. It's 23 in Salisbury. It's 24 in Gastonia. And those areas are reporting sleet right now. So what happens is you have the low level where you see right now. Abby, if you can pull us up real quick, I can kind of maybe show you a little bit more if I use my hands. But here at the surface, like say this is the surface.
Okay.
So this is where we live. If it's frozen right here, it's below 32. It might be whatever it is, 27 in Charlotte. We have 29, I think, or 30 degrees is the temperature in Chester. That's right here at the surface. But you go up a little bit and you have this warm layer. It's above freezing. It's not by a lot. It's not like 82 degrees. It's like 33 degrees or 34 degrees, but it is enough to melt the snowflakes that start way up here. So by the time it reaches the ground, if you have the ground that's below freezing, it's still going to freeze on contact, or it could even freeze again into sleet. That's what it's doing farther to the west. So it really just depends on where we are as to what you're seeing right now. So kind of one of those weird situations where that warm air is still moving in. It's moving in from the south, and so more areas are going to switch over to either sleet or freezing rain where you have snow right now.
It's a lot going on, and you're wondering why I'm looking down at my phone. It's a twofer, monitoring the comment section on our Facebook Live, but also keeping in touch with our reporters because we're going to get to Liliana Pearson, who's been having an absolute blast in Boone.
I know. She's been building snowmen up there.
Yeah. They've been having great snowfall out there. You know what? Can we
Do
get
we
to
have
Liliana?
her?
I don't want her to stand in the cold for
I don't
too
want
long. Okay.
We are in here and we are warm. She is not.
I know. She is not. So
she should go first.
Let's get to Miss Liliana Pearson really quick. Liliana, how's it shaping up out there?
Abby, we are just having so much snow out here and a lot of people are having fun. I actually think that we have some people behind me over here that they've been having an epic snow fight since I've been standing out here. Looks like they're having a ton of fun enjoying themselves out here with just the amount of snow that we're seeing. Look at that. That looks like so much fun. Let's go ahead and check and see how much snow we've got right now. I haven't measured it in a while, so let's pull out the measuring tape and see what we've got. This is one of the deeper spots. Oh, look, it just keeps, oh my gosh, it just keeps going. 9 inches. That is right
Incredible.
at the 9-inch mark.
A
lot of snow out here. Definitely very cold, Abby.
It's been I mean, you wanted to make a mini snowman at first, and I think you're going to be able to at this point.
Yeah, so I was able to make a mini snowman. He's over here if you want to check him out. You can actually tell how much it has snowed by what he looks like over here. Look, you can just see his little carrot nose sticking out of here.
Aww.
He was very small to begin with.
Success.
But now he's just a little pile in the snow because it snowed so much.
I know we called it a duck, a sad duck at first, but now
He definitely
he's
looked more
looking
like
great.
I can't hear her. I don't have an earpiece in, so I can't hear her.
But it looks like you're having a great time, Liliana, and I do see some cars out behind you also. Has that been the story of the morning? People are they heeding those suggestions to stay off the roadways, or have you been seeing a lot of traffic?
So there have definitely been cars on the road. Of course, we're up here in Boone, so people are up here for winter sports. We've seen people loading up their cars with ski stuff, with snowboarding stuff, because they want to go out and enjoy the snow that they're getting today. That being said, the roads aren't in great condition right now. You can take a look at them here behind me. People going slower, for sure. We have seen plows out. They've been putting down salt. They have been plowing, but you can see that as cars have continued to go over it, and we've been getting a lot of slow. It's looking a little slushy. It's looking like it's a little slippery. This morning, I've seen at least one car do a really big fishtail this morning. So if you are getting out to go skiing, to go snowboarding, if you're going to go sledding, go very slow, take your time, make sure you're giving lots of space between each car. If you do have to go out, of course, the best piece of advice that we can give you, if you can stay inside, just go ahead and do that. Nobody wants to be out on these roads where it could potentially be dangerous.
Having the best time, Liliana. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we will check back in throughout the day.
Sounds like fun.
All right. We want to get back to that forecast, Lee, because I know that you've got a lot to look into. Let's go ahead and take a look at the First Alert Doppler Radar, switching that over for you, and we are seeing a very busy system.
Yeah, a big system. Look how wide, far-reaching this system is. It stretches all the way from the deep south over to the mid-Atlantic, really. So that's a large area, and this entire system has to rotate through here before it can finally be done. It's probably going to be 7, 8 o'clock tonight before we can finally say goodbye to this. I think some of us are already ready to say goodbye to it. If you're seeing snow, you probably aren't, though. Here's where we have, this is what it looks like around here. We have just a little bit of everything so far. Farther to the north and west, let's start here in the mountains. We can see where there's snow falling, so you are the lucky ones right now. We have had some big snowfall totals. We have had, I think we've had.
Liliana said 9 inches in Boone.
Yeah, I can't hear her. I hate it. I saw her. She looked so nice. She was doing such a nice job. I know, but I couldn't hear her. So she had 9 inches.
She said 9 inches.
Okay. So yeah, they have just had one of the heavier bands move through. And so since, what time was it? Maybe like 2 hours ago. I think they've added about 4 inches of snow just in that short amount of time, because one of the really heavy snow bands has just moved through. So yeah, she's gotten a lot of it. We're also getting a lot of it come down in Burke County and Caldwell County. We've had 5, 6, 7 inches in some cases in that area. My parents in Hickory, they've gotten a lot. Even the northern part of Iredell County, you've gotten a lot of snow as well. Let's take a look a little bit farther to the south. See, this is the trouble spot. The farther north you go, you have sleet. So that's where you have those ice pellets. That's when it hits the ground and you can hear it. We walked outside a little while ago, Abby. You remember how you could see the little pellets on your jacket?
You could definitely see the sleet.
Yeah, and you could hear it. You could hear it as it was hitting your jacket, as it was hitting whatever, really. That is sleet. Those are tiny little ice pellets. So that's more ice than it is just plain snowflakes, obviously, because you can't hear snow. And then what we see a little bit farther to the south is the biggest troublemaker, that's freezing rain. That's when it falls all the way to the ground, just as plain rain, but if it hits the frozen surface, it freezes on contact. So we're starting to see that working more into Mecklenburg County. Union County, you've had it for a while. Right along the North Carolina, South Carolina border, there's been some freezing rain for a couple of hours now, really. You can see that. Did you want to ask something?
I was going to ask you a question. This is from a viewer who says she is stuck in Asheville, wondering when the best time might be to travel back to Charlotte based on your forecast.
I mean, if in Asheville, like Hendersonville, Asheville, we've heard reports of 8, 9, 10 inches of snow. So you are going to be dealing with, I mean, if you could wait until tomorrow, I would probably do that, because we're not going to have a whole lot of melting today. The temperature just barely even gets to the freezing mark. So we are not going to have a lot of melting. If you're traveling any distance, the roads are not going to be great.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I don't have good news for you. Tomorrow, here's the thing. Tomorrow we should be seeing sun, and we should see temperatures in the low to mid 40s, which is not warm, obviously, but it's above freezing. And you add the sun in, we're going to see a lot of melting tomorrow. But today, just no, not really a whole lot.
Okay, so if that answers your question, if you can stay in Asheville today and then
It's an
reconsider
option.
traveling tomorrow, let's see what other viewers are letting us know how it's looking in their neighborhood. So Lori Cox saying that she's getting about 5 inches of snow in Morganton.
Morganton, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, we've seen some good snowfall totals in Burke and Caldwell County.
Yeah, all sleet in Hickory, North Carolina right now. That's according to April
Okay,
Parker.
that's good to know. That's a change, because you have had just plain snow in Hickory, so it's good to know you're having a little, I mean, it's not good, but it's good to know.
And that's what you've been kind of letting us know. It's a story of snow into sleet for a lot of us.
Right, we have that warm air kind of moving in, and so that's why you're seeing the change over to sleet.
Dwight Cole says, sleeting in Forest City, North Carolina, but it's already snowed 7 inches.
Okay, and that's another thing to point out, because you have the snow, you might have 7 inches of snow, but if you get sleet on top of that, sleet's just heavier, so it's likely to compact your snow down. So you're still adding up, technically, you're getting more precipitation, but it's getting packed down, and so you don't have as much to show for it. So that's one of the things I think we're going to see with these totals, the snowfall totals, as we go into the next several hours. It's going to be kind of tricky, because I'm not going to ask you to do a cross section, figure out which part is snow and which part is sleet and how they all interact.
So let's pull up the radar one more time, expand that in full so all our friends at home can get a better look at it and walk us through what the rest of the day is looking like.
So here you can see, this is one of the biggest concerns right now. It's ice. There are some, we're saying anywhere from 1/4 inch of ice to 1/2 inch of ice. And that is, it doesn't sound like much when you talk about people who have 7, 8, 9 inches of snow. You say 1/4 inch of ice and it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it really is. That is what brings trees and power lines. So this is the area you see in pink right here, all the way from Union County, Anson County, Richmond County, down into Lancaster and Chesterfield County in South Carolina. It may look like it's just raining for you, but after a while you'll start to notice it's accumulating on the trees and on the power lines. So here's what it looks like on Futurecast. See that purple and pink line, the line between the two of them? That's where we have the difference between snow and sleet and freezing rain. And so as we head through the day, that's going to start to move to the north. So the mountains, I think you mainly stay in the snow, but everybody else is going to start to see a little bit of a changeover to that other kind of winter mixed precipitation that lasts through about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're talking about several hours where that's going to be the case. Finally, as we head into the late afternoon and evening hours, we'll start to see the back edge of it. But as we do see the back edge of it, it's going to sweep in some more snow. So we could see some snow showers on top of what we already have. I don't think it's going to be anything heavy. I don't think it's going to be anything major, but don't count that out. Don't rule that out. Don't think you're done with snow just because we have the morning snow that tapered off. As we head into the evening and overnight, I don't think most of us adds anything else by tomorrow morning. After it tapers off this evening, I think we're mainly dry for the night, but it's going to be really cold. And so again, we have the black ice issues first thing in the morning tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's where we're going from here.
If you're just joining us now, we are bringing you up to speed on the weather that has pummeled the Carolinas, this wintry mix. We have a first alert in effect for today and then Monday and Tuesday morning. And I want to show you some video that we were able to gather overnight, because the snow that we saw in Charlotte's already moved out, and it's really a story of sleet now and dealing with that freezing rain. So let's pull up what we did see. This is on Interstate 277. Our Courtney Cole was able to get this video while she was in between live shots. There was a car accident on the interstate, and this is exactly why crews have been telling us, engineers and DOT, saying don't go out on the roadways unless you have to. Of course, they're treating the roadways, but it is still a dangerous situation when we are navigating snow, sleet, ice, freezing rain. This is some more video that we were able to get overnight when it was snowing in Charlotte. No longer the case now.
Right.
But you could see that we had overpasses and interstates coated with that snow. So let's go back out to Futurecast and anything else our viewers need to know, because I know you have to get back to the forecast yourself before we get back on the air at noon.
Yeah, I think just be safe. Just use your own common sense. Don't try to be brave. Don't try to conquer the world, especially if it just looks like there's rain where you are, because there's likely to be just plain rain falling, but that's what freezes on contact when it hits those trees and the power lines and the roadways and the sidewalks. And so just be extra careful, I would say, for the rest of the day. If you can sit tight for a while longer tomorrow, as I said, there's going to be temperatures back in the 40s again, so we're going to see more melting heading into the day tomorrow. But today, it's a Sunday. Hopefully you can just hang out, kick back, relax.
And the good news
watch
is
us.
We don't have, a lot of you guys are not going to be going to work, maybe school, because of Martin Luther King Jr. Day
That's
tomorrow.
also really good.
So you'll have another opportunity to avoid the roadways. But yeah, be careful if you are going to be heading out.
Yep.
Okay, so that does it for us for this Facebook Live. If you are watching on Facebook Live, the stream is about to end, but our coverage will continue on the WBTV News app.
And we'll be on WBTV at noon.
Yes, we will.
Meteorologist Al Conklin is here, and man, oh man, Al, those flakes look pretty.
It does look pretty. Where you're getting the snow, it looks fantastic. Now, where it's the sleet and the freezing rain, not so much. This is downtown Belmont, and Lee and I were just watching a jogger came running right across here and said, I don't care about the snow.